Welcome to Personal Pension Radio Podcast, where you get unconventional insights into retirement and lifestyle design that actually work. You don't have to settle for the same tired Wall Street advice. Break away from the herd and learn how to achieve the retirement lifestyle of your dreams. And now, here's your host, the income engineer, Kraig Strom.
Okay, back on Personal Pension Radio. Always excited to be here. I love this. I really appreciate it. We've had another one of our biggest months ever last month in August, and just rolling through into September here. Truly, truly appreciate all the support from the Personal Pension Radio audience. We are broadcasting from the Personal Pension Radio studio here in Horsetown, USA, Norco, California. Actually built a full-blown shop in the backyard here at our home, the estate ranch, if you will. But my shop is multi-purpose, and I decided what better place to put my podcast broadcasting studio, but right here in the home base workshop, wood shop, place that I just enjoy being. Those of you who might know me, have heard this show enough, you know that I build fine furniture and cabinetry. I am the income engineer, of course, but I'm also the New Yankee Workshop wannabe. So I build fine furniture, cabinetry, woodworking projects as therapy, just as a hobby, and decided what better place to put the studio and the equipment here for this podcast, but right here in one of my favorite places. So we are brought to you by personalpensionradio.com, personalpensionradio.com. Get over there to that website if you want to check out past shows. It's a great place to find transcripts and information about the show. We will be updating the website in the future, but it does take time. So if you are looking for transcripts or information about episodes that you've listened to already, and you don't find the transcripts on the website, it's not because I don't love you. It's because I am a certified financial planning professional. I'm also licensed in the securities world and life insurance world and long-term care world. And all of those licenses and all of those things mean that I have lots and lots of people who watch over my shoulder to make sure that I am providing good quality information to you. That means I do have to go through a review process. So unlike financial entertainers and talking heads on CBS, CNBC, MSNBC, Bloomberg, just you name it, I actually have to go through a review process to make sure that my information is of good quality, whereas all of these other financial entertainers and unlicensed and unregulated folks, they just get to put out whatever the heck they want without any real oversight. That wonderful First Amendment, right? So I love it. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, in the world of retirement income planning and retirement planning in general, the free and easy access to information, which includes a large volume of information which is either completely inaccurate or only half right or less than half right. It's a difficult thing to deal with, especially being someone like myself. This radio show, this podcast, is all about optimizing retirement income. There is an absolute retirement income crisis in America today. I would say even worldwide, although much of Europe, for example, has a pension system for workers. Those pension systems are incredibly underfunded. Here in the United States, pensions with state and local government type agencies are completely upside down for the most part. So retirement income is a crisis in America, with the baby boomers retiring at 10 to 15 to 20,000 a day, depending on the numbers that you read. It is absolutely of epic proportions. And here's the thing. I am all about optimizing retirement income, but it does not happen with a product. It does not happen with a diversified portfolio of mutual funds. It does not happen when someone says, oh, this life insurance product is fantastic and will fix your retirement. Oh, no, you need to invest in real estate. Real estate is the answer. Annuities are the answer. No, none of these things by themselves will help you optimize your retirement income. You have to have an integrated approach. You've got to put these things together. Now, hear me on that. I believe in real estate, for example. You're going to hear me talk about a different type of investing later on in this episode. I believe in real estate, but I just haven't found a desire for real estate today. Right now, I just don't feel that's the right place for me to be. But that doesn't mean that real estate cannot be part of a phenomenal retirement income plan. Absolutely can be. It just isn't the answer to retirement income optimization by itself. Mutual funds, diversified portfolios of stocks and bonds, etc. Outstanding accumulation vehicles. Accumulation being save for retirement. Great stuff. Love it. Just not by itself the way to optimize and maximize retirement income. Life insurance. Oh, if you know me, I'm a huge fan of life insurance. I think life insurance is one of the greatest assets there is. The right kind of life insurance done right by itself as an asset is phenomenal. It's fantastic. But it is not the answer to maximizing retirement income. It is not, because by itself, it's just a good product, okay? But together, all of these things together in the right balance, integrated correctly, that's the answer to maximizing retirement income. And this show is meant to give you hope for retirement. That if you have had a conversation, those of you who've listened to the show, if you've heard the last couple of episodes, I've shared some client engagement interaction stories where people have gone to visit their financial advisor and they have gotten that horrible Monte Carlo income 4% rule conversation, and they've basically been told, you need to work longer and save a lot more money. Well, I'm here to tell you that there is hope for retirement, that if you have heard the Monte Carlo simulation, if you've resigned yourself that you have to work until you're 70 or more, don't accept that. Please contact me through the website at personalpensionradio.com. Let me have a conversation with you. I specialize in retirement income planning. That is an area of financial planning that has just given very little attention by the Wall Street machine that controls the education and marketing out there. Okay, so please go to personalpensionradio.com. Contact me through the website. You can also find me all over the web. You can search Kraig with a K, Kraig Strom, Strom. You'll find me all over the place. You'll find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. You'll find my personal pages, all that good stuff. So no excuses. I can help you turn the light back on at the end of that retirement tunnel. You just have to be willing to step out of line. And what I mean by that is step out of line. Get off the path. It's called the cow path. If you've ever heard the story of the cow path, and I'm not calling you a cow, don't take it the wrong way. The cow path is just an interesting story that cows, for example, out in the field, when they are let out to pasture, they will head out in a particular direction, and generally they will follow the same path. They follow the same path out, they follow the same path back. There's no deviations. Even if that path could become dangerous in some cases, they still follow the same path. Now, what we've been taught in the retirement income planning world and retirement world in general, and when I say we, I mean the financial advisor community. The financial advisor community, I am one of those people. I was taught a great deal about accumulation planning. I was taught to teach my clients how to save a ton of money, how to invest, save. You got to do a 401k, you got to do an IRA, you got to buy a diversified portfolio of mutual funds. You just got to do it. What I wasn't taught is I wasn't taught retirement income planning, and the rules of retirement income planning are very different than accumulation. So what you have here is you've got a whole, herd, if you will, of people out there working towards retirement, and they're all walking this path that has been laid out by the Wall Street education machine that taught financial advisors like myself the path. That's exactly the path that makes sense for the Wall Street financial advisory community, or at least that's the message they wanted us to have, is stay on this path. The answer to retirement planning is save more money. The answer to college planning is save more money. If you lose your dog, you should save more money. If you get a flat tire, you should save more money, right? That's the path that has been laid out by those who control the education machine that taught myself and now some 700,000+ financial advisors in the U.S. today. That's the path that we were taught to teach you to walk on. What I'm suggesting is that there is light at the end of the retirement tunnel, but you have to be willing to step off that path and learn new things. And learn that 401k and mutual funds is not the only answer, the only way to get to retirement. As a matter of fact, if you do 401ks, investment stocks, and mutual funds by themselves, it's almost certain guaranteed that you will be disappointed with your retirement income conversation. Unless you have an integrated approach that you have been taught something different, that you have been taught that things like real estate and mutual funds and life insurance and annuities can all live together happily in one integrated plan, right? If you don't know that, then you're on the path that Wall Street wants you to be on, which is the answer is mutual funds and investments are the answers. Don't look behind the curtain at that real estate or annuities. Don't look over there behind the curtain at that life insurance, because the answer is what we want you to do is invest. Okay? So I'm getting kind of animated, excited here today as I record this, because I don't know how else to get it across that if you believe, if you've been taught that the answer to retirement planning is to max out your 401k, I'm here to just tell you that is simply wrong. Period. Wrong. If you want to ignore that cautionary advice, then do so at your own peril. But if you really want to know, if you really want to double check it, test me out, go to Personal Pension Radio, contact me there, get your own retirement income analysis done, and get it done sooner than later. If you do not know where you're headed, you don't understand how important it is for you to get off that path. Let me help you see it, and I guarantee you will be excited. Guarantee you'll be excited to find out. And because as soon as you learn it, you can actually make a change. You can totally make a change. Now, I just got rambling right into that. I'm kind of, like I said, kind of fired up this morning. But as a quick disclosure, I am not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. I am a certified financial planner professional. But don't act on the things that you hear on this podcast. Please, this is not meant to give you some actionable advice for your personal situation. This is meant to give you pause and give you information that inspires you to want to know more about this so that you can put it into play in your personal situation. But especially, please do not act on things that you hear from financial entertainers, people that are unlicensed, unregulated, generally not trained nearly as well as a good certified financial planner is. But these folks have radio and podcast shows. They have TV shows. They seem credible. But you have to remember, advice given on a 3-minute phone call or a 30-second soundbite sounds good, but might be some of the worst advice to act on. And you just don't know it unless you meet with a qualified financial advisor. A qualified financial advisor, for example, their job is literally on the line in some cases. They have to be careful. I know personally, I have to be very mindful of the advice that I give out. I have to be very mindful of recommendations that I make, because though I am held to a very specific standard and I have a lot of oversight, that can come down to my level and say, hey, Kraig, you're in trouble for doing this, 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 and this. You can't just say this. You can't just say that. So please don't act on things that you hear on this show. Go to the website, personalpensionradio.com, and contact me. Ask questions. I will definitely do my best to help you, but I'm not going to just whip out advice without asking detailed questions. Okay? Perfect example of this was last week. One of my clients called to introduce me to his friend, a best friend, a longtime friend from high school. And he just wanted me to give him an answer almost via email, and with one phone call and an email, he wanted me to give this friend an answer about a financial question. And I refused. I said, with all due respect, this is actually a more in-depth conversation. I'd be happy to come and sit down and talk with the both of you. And that's what we did last week, is I actually came out, sat down, and discussed it in detail. And sure enough, it was not an easy answer, but after asking another 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 100 questions, I was able to give a much, much better answer to the overall question. So keep that in mind. Now, first step. No, watch your step. Let's see. First step. First step is me. Slow down, and let's get to the first segment of the show that I like to cover. It's called Watch Your Step. This is where I, for you, because I love you, I scour the news out there for topics like retirement income and retirement planning and what different financial entertainers are saying, and things that catch my eye that I think you should know about that might be a good lesson or a good conversation to help you get out of line. Remember that line. You know, you're walking on that path because that's the only path that you were taught to walk on, right? And here I am telling you, I'd like you to get out of that line. So here's an example of something that catches my eye. So this is a CBS News report. It's titled Boomer Retirement Plans, Good, Bad, and Ugly. All right, that caught my eye. That caught my eye, so I'm curious. I want to see what this article actually says. Now, the show notes will absolutely have the link to the article in CBS News. Okay, so you can find that. I always give credit to the source, so it's right there. You'll have it in the show notes. If you want it before the show notes are posted, please just contact me through the website, and I'm happy to send it to you. All right, now, the quote that caught my eye from this lady, Catherine Collinson, president of the Transamerica Center for Retirement Studies. All right, now, I emphasize that because this is Transamerica. Transamerica is a very large financial services company. It's basically a big, financial firm, and they're all about assets under management and money and insurance and variable this and all kinds of good stuff. But the Transamerica Center for Retirement Studies. All right. So this lady is quoted in the article. First thing that got my attention. She says, working longer and fully retiring at a later age is a common sense solution for mitigating retirement savings shortfalls. Now, I can't disagree with that. I mean, so if you find yourself with a retirement savings shortfall, well, yeah, if you don't have another solution, you might have to work longer for sure. Common sense solution for mitigating retirement savings shortfall. I think there's more to it, of course. I look at it and say that if you find yourself with a retirement saving shortfall, that's the key word. That it's not just a retirement saving shortfall, it's a retirement income plan shortfall. And I have to tell you, even if you're right up on the doorstep of retirement, right up on the doorstep, there is room to adjust, to rebalance your retirement plan so that you can have more income. right? So if I ask you, let's say that you're right at the doorstep of retirement and you're looking at it and someone told you that you have a retirement savings shortfall. Well, the bigger question is, what is your retirement income shortfall, right? And if you have a retirement income shortfall and I told you that by rearranging how you're going to use your assets, from everything including the house you live in to life insurance to annuities to your 401k, if I told you that by rebalancing those things together, that you could have more income without compromising risk and security, that would, I hope, be interesting, wouldn't it? For sure. So this idea that we've got Transamerica, we've got so many Wall Street firms and financial advisory education platforms that basically are now telling you that a common sense solution for mitigating retirement savings shortfall is just to work longer. Well, my take on it is that Wall Street failed to teach the baby boomers how to truly be ready for retirement income. So now it's common sense to plan to work longer. Well, wouldn't it be better if they actually taught us the rules of retirement income planning? Wouldn't it have been better that instead of just saying that the only answer is invest more money, wouldn't it have been better to long ago say, you know what? If you're in a position to be able to have a pension, putting some money over there would be really good to have a pension. Wouldn't it be great to know that if you had life insurance, that you would open up additional options for how you spend your investment money later in life? So, what if you had some life insurance to go with your investments? Nope. No. That's not what they taught. What they taught for the last 30, 40 years was that the only answer to retirement savings is to save more money with Wall Street firms and save. That's it. There was no plan to it. So today, we're starting to hear things like, it's common sense to plan to work longer. I call BS. They should have been teaching retirement income planning a long time ago. Because now, here we are. We're in the problem. We're in the thick of it, right? Okay, so the article goes on to say, while it's good news that boomers plan to work longer. What? They quoted a study, by the way, that said a lot of boomers are planning to work longer. How is that good news? While it's good news that boomers plan to work longer, the reality is, and here's the catch, that many may not be able to work as long as they want. So they quote the 2016 Retirement Confidence Survey. Almost half of all current retirees, catch this number, folks, pay attention. The 2016 Retirement Confidence Survey, almost half of all current retirees, 46%, report that they had to retire earlier than they had planned, often due to a hardship such as health problems or disability. Right? So here we're saying in the beginning, it's common sense and it's really good that boomers plan to work longer. Well, even though you plan to work longer, almost half of you probably can't because of some sort of health issue or disability. And then you take into consideration, then it's harder to find work as an older person. And older now is relative. 65 isn't old anymore. 60, 70 even isn't old. But it's harder to find age-friendly work environments, right? So they can say it's common sense to work longer and, it's a good thing. No, it's not. There's some real serious pitfalls in there. Real serious pitfalls. And then sure enough, okay, it's ready to go. It's ready to pop its head up. And I'm reading through this article and there it is, right? The median amount of savings that boomers reported that they need for retirement was $500,000. That's what boomers reported they needed for retirement. And yet, using the 4% rule as a reality check, this amount will generate an annual income of about $20,000 a year. In addition to Social Security, not nearly enough to cover many boomers' expenses. Okay. That's a big one to go back and really cover, right? That in this retirement confidence survey, the median amount of savings that most boomers thought they needed was only $500,000. How in the world would you come up with $500,000 as the number that you could use for retirement? How about this? Most baby boomers, most people have no idea what the 4% rule is. So this article, the author says, using the 4% rule as a reality check, this amount will generate only $20,000 a year. That's one heck of a reality check, folks. If you do not know what the 4% rule is, the 4% rule is this idea that if you've got $1 million in a retirement account and you're retiring at 65, and you really, you're wondering how much income can I take out of my 401k without fear of running out of money before I die? Well, the 4% rule says, well, based on the ups and downs and the uncertainties of the market, and some years will be good and some years will be bad, you really shouldn't take more than 4% of your $1 million to start your retirement. So congratulations, you're a millionaire, $40,000 a year, right? Now, the reality of that is, here's a big reality check for you, that the 4% rule was created some 35 plus years ago, back in the 1990s. The 4% rule does not apply anymore like it used to, because people live longer. The stock market is not doing as well as it was way back when. So 4% rule, if you tried to take out 4% today at age 65 to start your retirement income, you'd have about a 12 to 15% chance that you or your spouse would die broke. So 4% has some serious risk, right? The new number is closer to 3 or 3.5%, right? So this idea that the retirees are reporting that they thought $500,000 would be the number. Where does that come from? And here's my theory. This is my personal theory. This has not been tested or proven with a giant university study. What has Wall Street taught us for the last 30 or 40 years? They've taught accumulation. What's a big buzzword or phrase in the accumulation conversation? Average rate of return. We hear financial entertainers like Dave Ramsey quote, 12% average rate of return, 12% average rate of return. We hear our financial advisors tell us we've been earning 7 or 8 or 9% average rate of return. So what I have found is that most people, they will look at their retirement account and they will apply that average number they've been hearing to the amount that they have in the account. And they say, well, I have a $500,000 401k, and my financial advisor says that I've been averaging 8% rate of return. Oh, look at that. I should be able to take $40,000 a year out of my account. Hey, you know what? With Social Security, we could live on that. Wrong. 8% average rate of return is an accumulation term. Average rate of return has nothing to do with retirement income. The rules of retirement income are completely different. You cannot use averages as your retirement income foundation. So there's the disconnect. That's, in my opinion, the disconnect. The average retiree thinks in the average rates of return that they've been hearing from the financial advisory community, okay? And it doesn't match. It's not something that they can use. And then they sit down with a financial advisor who says, oh, no, we don't use average rate of return. We use this thing called the 4% rule. And that's where the retiree falls out of the chair and says, what are you talking about, 4%? I can't live on that. Well, you better start thinking about the common sense approach and work longer. Oh, please. That is not the conversation that I have with my clients. So please, if you would like to know what yours looks like, don't forget, contact me through the website or on LinkedIn. Get your own retirement income analysis done. It's an eye-opener. You'll be glad you did. Let's finish up with this article. Now, the article goes on to say, it would be helpful if employers offered financial counseling about retirement, but only 12% of working boomers reported that their employer offers this benefit. Okay, so heads up to those of you who are business owners. If you have a 401k and you're the business owner, notice that number, that this retirement survey says that only 12% of the working baby boomers, which is a lot of them, reported that their employer offered financial counseling about retirement. That's a huge risk for you as an employer. Please, you do not want to be part of that 80 to 88% that does not offer any kind of financial counseling, because the federal government is coming down, the Department of Labor is coming down hard on employers who offer retirement plans. And if you're not offering a good quality education program to go with your retirement plan, you are putting yourself at risk of action from, for example, the Department of Labor. So just not something to be toyed with. I can absolutely help you with some ideas on how to have a solid financial counseling offer for your employees, but don't take this lightly. If you're an employer that has a 401k, and if you're an employee that's a member of a 401k that you feel like you are not getting education about retirement, especially education like you're hearing on this show, go to your human resources person, go to the owner of the company, and tell them that I am available for consult. I will definitely help them be in a much better position, and you'll be in a better position at the same time. So now, finishing up with this article, they go through the ugly. Remember, the title of the article was Good, Bad, and Ugly, right? Oh, that's fun stuff. So the ugly, only 1/4, 25% of boomers reported having a backup plan in case they're unable to continue working until their planned retirement. A backup plan, right? That meaning that you are physically unable to work. What's your backup plan? In addition, more than 1 in 4 reported having less than $5,000 to cover the cost of major financial setback, like unemployment, medical bills, car repair. So less than $5,000. Now, that does not surprise me, because the average savings in America, just the big numbers, average savings in America is less than $6,000. That's pretty standard, right? Now, as a result, more than 1 in 4, this is the retirement survey, 1 in 4, 28% have taken a loan or an early distribution or a hardship withdrawal from their retirement savings or IRA. Okay, that's a really big, scary number right there, folks, that 28% of those in this survey, and this is a big survey. The Retirement Confidence Survey is a very comprehensive, huge survey that's done every year, and 28% reported having taken a loan, an early distribution, right, from their retirement accounts. So please, if you're in that boat, know that that is another trigger to contact me so that we can talk about your personal situation. I can absolutely help you change that direction, but we've got to talk or I can't help. In summary, the article wraps up this way. Boomers, now listen to this. Boomers will need to do a better job of taking steps to make sure they can work as long as they plan. And they should spend more time learning about Social Security and their retirement finances. If you want to know more, blah, blah, blah. Really? Boomers need to do a better job, right? So the baby boomer needs to become a retirement planning expert. How about this? Wall Street needs to teach retirement income planning to the field. And I say field, meaning the field force. There's some 760,000 technically financial advisors in this country. And the vast majority of them, because I was one of them, the vast majority of them have never been taught retirement income planning. So boomers, why is it the boomers' responsibility to do a better job, right? Educating themselves? How are they going to educate themselves if the financial advisory community doesn't teach retirement income planning? right? That's the key. So hopefully you get motivated to realize that this show, myself, I am the income engineer for a reason, because I saw the need for that specialty. That conversation is not being had nearly enough. Okay? So please, if you're a baby boomer and you're at the doorstep of retirement, if you have a parent or a friend who is coming up towards retirement, please get them in touch with me now, because you could be the difference for them having a horrible retirement income conversation or actually having hope for retirement. And I'm definitely here to help. Okay, let's finish up with this listener question. So, listener question that came in here. This is from a lady who lives here in Southern California, and she says this: I've been renting a home in Southern California for more than 10 years, and now have an opportunity to buy the house I live in. I'm planning to retire next year at age 67. Should I buy the house with a 30-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage and pay it off quickly? All right, that is a great question, but there's a lot more to this than a 30-year mortgage versus a 15-year mortgage, right? So this is my take on things. Please remember, full disclosure and all that. This is my opinion. This is my take on this, and I hope that it will prompt you to think about it differently. But getting a mortgage at age 67 means that you will basically have a rent payment for the next 15 to 30 years. So the idea that at age 67 you're going to stop renting, well, I understand you will be buying the house over time, but truth be told, you will still have a rent, quote unquote, payment for the next 15 to 30 years. Okay? And now here's the big thing. A 15-year mortgage will eat into fixed retirement income budgets, obviously harder than a 30-year mortgage will, right? So this idea that we're going to take a 15-year mortgage versus a 30-year mortgage, where basically it's still renting, right? I mean, there's still a substantial payment that's going out, oftentimes more than what was going out on the rent. So think about it this way. If we did, right, if I said, hey, go for a 15-year mortgage, that payment will be substantially higher than the rent payment was, and the house will not be paid off until you're 82 years old, right? So 82 years old, that's a long time to basically have a fixed, quote unquote, rent payment that is just eating into your income budget, right? So retirement income is very, very sensitive in general, and then we add in this much higher payment for the cost of living there. And remember that the rent payment, right, did not necessarily include taxes and insurance. That was the obligation of the landlord, right? So now if you're owning the home, right, now you have to pay for taxes and insurance forever. That's yours to pay forever. So not only do you get the 15-year mortgage payment, principal and interest, you get taxes and insurance and maintenance and air conditioners and slab leaks and broken garage doors and, right? You get a substantial additional risk comes with owning that home, right? So first things first. 15-year versus a 30. Okay, in your situation, knowing what I know, knowing that you're going to end up with you're going to have a fixed income, I would always suggest going for a 30-year mortgage, because there's much more flexibility. You can always pay a 30-year mortgage like a 15-year mortgage, but you cannot pay a 15-year mortgage like a 30. So that just gives you much more flexibility to pay down the house if you want, so be it, right? Get a mortgage if you want. But get something where you at least have flexibility, right? The lower payments on a fixed retirement budget is much safer than going at a 15-year loan. Also keep in mind, at 67, you're probably in a situation where your hips and your knees still work and you're still very active and you want to get out and go. You might want to travel. You might want to go on a cruise, those kinds of things. A 15-year fixed mortgage payment with no flexibility could possibly cut into your ability to enjoy life, right? Your ability to get in there and enjoy those things that you can do. Because when your house is paid off at age 82, maybe your hips don't work. Maybe you don't want to travel as much, right? And you might have just missed the best 15 years of your retirement are the first 15 years of your retirement, okay? Now, the next thing to consider, though, is that once you're done paying off, and I'm going to, because this person is in Southern California here, I'm going to assume, let's say, once you're done paying off a $400,000 house, you will have no access to the money. You'll receive no income from that $400,000 asset, and you'll get no interest, no dividends. So you basically have this $400,000 asset money trapped inside the house, right? Now, the question is why? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to have a paid off house at age 82, for example, if you paid it off in 15 years? If the idea is to leave a paid off house to your children, and I've heard this many times, the idea being, we're going to pay off the house, we're going to pay this thing off because that's just the way the world tells us to do things, then you've got yourself basically beneficiaries who will enjoy the fact that you sacrificed your retirement enjoyment for 15 or 30 years so that you could leave them the equity in the house so that they can sell the house. Well, I mean, because seriously, what are the kids going to do? Let's say this person, if they have children they want to leave this house to. You pay this house for 15 to 30 years, then you leave it to the children. Maybe you have 2 kids, 2.5 kids. What are the kids going to do with the house? They're going to sell it, right? They're going to sell it to get that money back out of the house. So many people get trapped in this idea that, oh, I've got to pay off the house. I got to pay off the house. Well, who are you paying off the house for? Because it certainly isn't for yourself, because the house that you live in that is paid off does not give you anything but a roof. It doesn't give you anything more than a roof and maybe some cute memories on the wall, but it doesn't do anything for you. It is not liquid. It has no rate of return on the cash in the house. It has no income paid to you on the house, on the money that's in there. So really, it's a great thing for the kids. You pay taxes and insurance and mortgage payments and all this stuff for the next 15 to 30 years, and you leave all the equity to your kids. Okay, now, if that's what you want to do, get a 30-year mortgage. My recommendation, get a 30-year mortgage and pay it down slowly. Keep more of your money in your pocket today in the beginning of your retirement so that you have a more flexible retirement income budget so you can enjoy life. If you want to pay it down more aggressively later on, you can for sure, right? But if you think about this and say, well, you know what? I've already given enough money to my kids. I've already given them college and I've already raised them and I've already spent a ton of money on them. You know, my kids have enough. And maybe even your kids, like my sister and I, you know, in the case of my mother, you know, we said, look, we have enough. We're fine. You don't have to leave us a paid off house. So if that's the case, then I would suggest that you consider getting and using a reverse mortgage for purchase. Rather than buying this house in the same old way that everybody else in line tells you to get it, remember the line. You got everybody walking that cow path, and they say, this is the way we do it. This is the way you got to buy a house. This is what you got to do. You got to get a 15-year mortgage or a 30-year mortgage. No, that is not correct. At age 67, you can qualify for a little-known program called a reverse mortgage for purchase. You can actually buy a home with a reverse mortgage for purchase, and you put down as little as necessary. So you put as little of your own money in the house as possible, and you end up with no mortgage payment, aka rent payment. So you don't end up with any kind of a payment on the property itself because it is a reverse mortgage. You still owe taxes and insurance and maintenance, et cetera, but that mortgage payment that you would have been making stays in your pocket for enjoyment, to live your life, to take advantage of the first 15, 20 years of your retirement while you're healthy, okay? So that is a key there. Take advantage of the opportunity when you retire, because at age 82, when that house is paid off, some people would say, oh, well, now you have extra money to spend. Well, great. You're 82 years old. Number one, did you live to 82 to be able to enjoy it? Physically, will you be able to enjoy that extra money now? Why not use a program that is available for a select group of people, 62 and older? Use a reverse mortgage for purchase and keep that extra cash flow in your pocket and enjoy the heck out of it. Okay, so that's my take on it. My take on it is, if you're going to do a 30 or 15-year mortgage, every day of the week, choose the 30-year mortgage. The 30-year mortgage is so much safer from a family perspective than a 15-year mortgage. Remember, you can always pay a 30-year mortgage like a 15-year mortgage, but you can never pay a 15-year mortgage like a 30. There's no flexibility there. The bank doesn't say, oh, sure, we totally understand, you can do that. But if you're a baby boomer and you're also thinking about refinancing or getting a mortgage at 65 or 67, please, please, please stop and think that if you have to do the mortgage in general because you do want to leave the house to the kids, do the 30-year mortgage. So much more flexibility. But if you stop and have a conversation with yourself and your children and your kids and like myself and my sister, you're saying, hey, we got plenty. We're fine. We don't need you to leave us anything else. Mom, we want you to be happy. So my mom has a reverse mortgage, right? And my mom has more personal net cash flow that she gets to keep in her pocket than she ever had before. She's not renting an apartment anymore. She's not paying technically rent on a mortgage for a house anymore. She's now has all of that cash flow in her pocket. Guess what? This summer, at the end of this summer, my mom is going on another one of her trips. Her and a very good friend of hers are getting together to go to Flagstaff, Arizona to see my daughter up there in college and to hang out and go to the Grand Canyon and just travel. They're going to go to Sonoma. They're going to do all kinds of fun stuff. But my mom is primarily able to do that because she does not have a, quote, rent payment. She doesn't have a mortgage payment. She has the flexibility to live in her home for the rest of her life without having to make payments on it anymore. Someday when she's gone, will my sister and I inherit whatever equity might be left in that house? Yes. What if there is no equity left in that house? So be it. We just clean out the house and give the keys to the bank. That's fine. Personally, I don't want my mom's old house anyway. I would absolutely want to sell it no matter what. So it all works out. So please, therein lies, that's the answer to that question. 30-year mortgage, if you've got to get a mortgage, if you just cannot turn yourself off that path, if you just can't listen to an alternate point of view, get a 30-year mortgage. But if you're willing to listen, if you're willing to look at it, contact me at personalpensionradio.com. I'll put you in touch with someone who can give you all the details on this reverse mortgage for purchase thing, because I'll tell you, very few realtors, very few lenders, there's not very many of them out there who truly understand how to do it. Okay, I don't personally do it. I have a connection that helped my mom, and I would put you in touch with him. So that concludes today. Now, don't forget, for next episode, I've actually had a client who heard me talk about the fact that I was starting a small car dealership, that I was actually getting a car dealership license, and wanted me to share some of the details. So look for that on the next episode. This last week, we actually did purchase our first cars at the dealer auction, and scary, exciting, nervous, all that stuff that goes into a new venture. And I'm going to start giving you details on that on the next episode, so watch for that. Make sure that you head to Personal Pension Radio. Get your copy of the retirement income report there at the website. That is just a great resource to start with. Start there for sure. And I will talk to you again. I was going to say I'll see you, but we don't do video. I do need to work on doing video for this show. That's coming. Anyway, thank you for joining me again on Personal Pension Radio. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you for listening to the Personal Pension Radio podcast. We took notes for you, so if you missed any part of the show, you can find a full transcript of each episode at personalpensionradio.com. Be sure to download your free retirement income crisis report at personalpensionradio.com. While you're at it, we would appreciate some iTunes love. Please leave us a fantastic rating on iTunes by going to personalpensionradio.com/iTunes. Thanks again for listening. Now for the disclosure. Information presented is for educational purposes only and is not intended for solicitation, sale or purchase of any security or financial product. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor and your tax professional before implementing any strategy discussed here. The term personal pension refers to a marketing name designed to educate future retirees and retirees about the economic principles behind creating their own pension-like income. The term personal pension is not intended to be confused with a defined benefit pension plan offered by an employer or by a government entity.